Hi everyone, welcome, and in this video I continue my series on directors' first films that I have on physical media. I'm going through this alphabetically. We're up to L now. If you've missed any of these, go to the homepage on my channel. You'll find a playlist there so you can catch up. So films which I have, maybe you have some directors that I don't, so watch along, keep it in mind, and let me know in the comments. Here we go. First up, we have director Neil LaBute, who in 1997 directed his first feature, a low-budget film. This was In the Company of Men, with an early role here for Aaron Eckhart, a really good role, but this is about two really despicable businessmen, real misogynists, who decide to see if they can break the heart of a vulnerable secretary who's deaf. Quite an acerbic film. It's really good, but yeah, they're really nasty characters. This is probably the best film that Neil LaBute has directed to date. He did follow it up with a film called Nurse Betty, which did win the Best Screenplay Award at Cannes Film Festival. But he's also responsible for directing the ill-advised remake of The Wicker Man, starring Nicolas Cage, and also another remake that nobody asked for, and that was Death at a Funeral. Next is director John Lafia, and probably his biggest success has been as a screenwriter on the original Child's Play about the Chucky doll, which came out in 1988, and he also directed its sequel, Child's Play 2. But it was the same year as Child's Play that he turned to directing as well, and did this one, The Blue Iguana, starring Dylan McDermott, Jessica Harper, and Dean Stockwell. Next, we have director Mary Lambert, and her career has mostly been involved with doing music videos and also some TV. In terms of feature films, not too many of those, but in 1989 she adapted Stephen King's Pet Sematary, and then she also directed Pet Sematary 2 in 1992. Next, we've got documentary filmmaker Claude Lanzmann. Now, I don't actually have his very first documentary film, which was called Israel Why, which came out in 1973. But I just think he's worth mentioning because his next film, which came out in 1985, was such a landmark documentary and still a very significant one, Shoah, a 9-hour plus documentary about survivors of Nazi atrocities and witnesses of the same as well. Really significant film this, and this Criterion set, as well as having the 9-hour movie, also includes two other Claude Lanzmann documentaries. Next, we have an animation director closely associated with Disney Pixar, and that's John Lasseter. 1988, he won an Oscar for doing a short film called Tin Toy, but it was in 1995 when he began his directing debut, and that was with the classic Toy Story. He also directed Toy Story 2, as well as Cars, Cars 2, and A Bug's Life. And next we have screen acting legend Charles Laughton, veteran actor who won the Oscar for playing Henry VIII in The Private Life of Henry VIII in 1934. It was in 1955 when he had a go at directing, the only time that he ever directed a movie, but wow, what a classic and a singular vision that he had. And it was this one, The Night of the Hunter, starring Robert Mitchum with his love-hate Knuckles and Shelley Winters. Absolutely superb film. And next we have another director who started his career doing music videos, and that is Francis Lawrence. And it was in 2005 when he turned to feature film directing, and that was with Constantine, starring Keanu Reeves. But he's perhaps best known for doing the Hunger Games movies, starring Jennifer Lawrence. He also directed I Am Legend, starring Will Smith. And up next, he has an intriguing one. It is called The Long Walk. It's coming out soon, starring Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson, adapted from a Stephen King novel and co-scripted by J.T. Molnar, who directed the excellent Strange Darling. So yeah, looking forward to that. And next we've got British director Quentin Lawrence, and now he's worked a lot on British TV, particularly in the 70s, and on shows such as Crown Court, Emmerdale, and Catweasel. Does anybody remember that one? 1958 was when he directed his first feature film, and it is quite a fun one. I've talked about this one before. It is The Crawling Eye, starring Forrest Tucker and Janet Munro, and it's based on the teleplay of the Trollenberg Terror, and he had directed that TV series as well. But yeah, another great movie that he directed, which you can get on the Indicator label, is the heist thriller Cash on Demand, starring Peter Cushing. And next we have absolute legendary British director David Lean. Now, he won his directing Oscars for a couple of his big epics, which were Lawrence of Arabia and The Bridge on the River Kwai. But his very first feature was a collaboration with Noel Coward, and it was this great wartime movie, In Which We Serve. But yeah, absolutely love David Lean as a director. He's done some incredible adaptations of Charles Dickens' work, Oliver Twist and Great Expectations. He did the beautiful Summertime, starring Katharine Hepburn, and then obviously all of his epics as well. So yeah, really great director, David Lean. Next we have director Mimi Leder, and most recently she's been directing episodes of the successful show The Morning Show, starring Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. In 1997 is when she started her feature film directing, and that was with this film The Peacemaker. No John Cena in this one, but this was an attempt to give a breakout role for George Clooney after having been in ER, and also starring Nicole Kidman as well. Not a bad movie, but not a great one either. And then she also directed Deep Impact. And next we have another screen legend, and that is Bruce Lee, a martial artist who's obviously best known for being in Enter the Dragon. But it was in 1972 he gets a directing credit for this one, Way of the Dragon. Next, we have a truly iconic director and basketball lover, and that is Spike Lee. Now, he had a very low-budget start to his career, directing this one in 1986, She's Gotta Have It, and then also School Days as well, a very low-budget movie, but it was then his classic Do the Right Thing that really established him, and if he'd only ever directed that movie, that would be enough. But he also directed Malcolm X, Crooklyn, 25th Hour, Mo Better Blues, and even more recently films such as David Byrne's American Utopia. And next we have director Jennifer Lee. Now, with her very first movie as a director, she ended up winning the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, and that was with Frozen. Let It Go. And she also directed Frozen 2, but she was also a producer on Wreck-It Ralph and Zootopia. And next we have director Michael Lehmann. He mainly works in TV nowadays, but in 1989 he had his directing debut with a cult classic starring Christian Slater and Winona Ryder, and that was with Heathers. Everywhere I go, there's always an asshole. Love this movie. He also directed Meet the Applegates, Hudson Hawk, starring Bruce Willis, and also Airheads, starring Brendan Fraser. Next, now I can't do this video without talking about Mike Leigh, but the problem here is I've seen many of his films, but I actually have a very few of his films in my collection, so I don't have his feature film debut of Bleak Moments from 1971, so I'll just have to jump to this one, which I picked up just the other day actually. This was one of his Play for Today features that came out in 1973, starring Alison Steadman. It is Abigail's Party, really classic one this, great fun. But yeah, absolutely love Mike Leigh films, so director of films such as Life is Sweet, Secrets and Lies, and just more recently Hard Truths. And next we have a director who was formerly a stuntman, and that is David Leitch, who started his stunt career back in 1995 but didn't start directing movies until 2017, and his first one was starring Charlize Theron and James McAvoy. It was Atomic Blonde. He then went on to direct Deadpool 2. He's also directed Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, as well as Bullet Train and The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling. And next we've got British actor, writer and director David Leland. Now, before he turned to directing, he wrote the fantastic screenplay for Mona Lisa, starring Bob Hoskins and Michael Caine. But it was in 1987 that he also became a director, and that was with this wonderful film, Wish You Were Here, with a breakout role for a young Emily Lloyd and a fantastic performance as well from Tom Bell. I really love this movie. He's also directed music videos for Tom Petty, I Won't Back Down, and The Travelling Wilburys. And next we have French director Louis Leterrier, who certainly directed a number of big budget action movies. He started his career in 2002 directing Jason Statham in The Transporter, and then also its sequel, Transporter 2. Other films that he's directed include The Incredible Hulk, starring Edward Norton, The Brothers Grimsby, Clash of the Titans remake, and also Fast X. And next we have writer-director Barry Levinson, who really started his career as a writer, working with the likes of Mel Brooks before he turned to directing. And his directing debut was in 1982, directing this excellent one, coming-of-age comedy, Dinah, starring a young Mickey Rourke, Steve Guttenberg and Kevin Bacon. Although Barry Levinson is still directing movies now, his latest being The Alto Knights, starring Robert De Niro, really his 80s period is perhaps his best known period, and that included directing The Natural, starring Robert Redford, Good Morning Vietnam, starring Robin Williams, and Rain Man, for which is the only film that he's won the Oscar for his directing. And next we have Abe Levitow, an animation director who worked a lot with Chuck Jones, and in 1962 had his directing debut with this interesting animated feature, which is Gay Purrie, featuring the vocal talents of a late career Judy Garland, as well as Robert Goulet, Red Buttons and Hermione Gingold. Now, the significant thing about this one, well, on the animation, it has some interesting French impressionist style to it. But yeah, in terms of the songs, these are written by Harold Arlen and E.Y. Harburg. And why are they significant? Well, they happen to write the songs for The Wizard of Oz, also starring Judy Garland. Okay, I'm going to pause it there because there's still quite a few L's to go and I don't want to make this too long a video. But how did you get on with those? Have you seen any of those movies? Do you have any director's first films in your collection, which I don't have? Let me know in the comments. Thanks again to everyone who has been playing along with this and actually putting some great comments in as we go along. I really do appreciate that. Please continue to enjoy this series. Watch any back episodes on my channel. There is a playlist there. Hope to see you for the next one. Thanks for watching. All the best. Bye-bye.